small, but it lasts the whole day, right? How many people you guys remember the little flip phones and your battery lasts about 2 hours, right? You had to charge it every couple hours. So it's the same is true of the old lift truck versus the new lift truck. Lithium battery has a lot more energy in it. So you're going to be able to drive longer. You're going to drive faster, not faster than what you drive at the beginning, but you know, as the day goes on, you notice your truck drives slower. That's not going to happen with this battery. You're going to be able to drive the same speed from the first part of the shift to the last part of the shift, because lithium, they put out more power over more time. So that's a little bit about the battery. In exchange for this new technology, there's some things that are more critical that you have to do. One of them is you can't let it run down below 20%. So, you know, where before it might go down to 15 and you'd limp it back and charge it, okay. With this, at 20%, it's going to alarm on you, and it's going to be a beep, beep, beep. I think you guys probably heard it when they lifted the truck up yesterday. The batteries, they come in dead because it's safer that way to transport. If the truck got in a wreck, if they're dead, they don't catch fire. So when it came in, it was low, and you could hear that beeping. When you're driving, if you hear that beeping, go immediately to the charger. You don't want to let this battery get below 20%. Now, if you plug it in during your breaks and your lunches, it won't ever get down to 20%. If you forget and you miss one, it might. But once you hear that beep, you got to get back to a charger. At 15%, it's going to beep louder and it's going to beep faster. And at 10%, it's almost going to be a steady noise. So don't let it get down to that. We'll be able to hear it throughout the warehouse. So if someone's driving around at 15%, we're all going to know. So plugging it in is a little bit different. So come on in. So this is, you'll notice it's a new plug. It's a different plug. This is the plug for the lithium, and it plugs in to the battery. So you don't have to unplug the truck and plug the battery into the charger. You just plug this into the battery. So if you guys will come over to this side. Actually, yeah, let's show them on that. Yeah, this training is also exercise. So
that's good.
Get your steps in. So right here is your charge port. So you don't have to unplug the truck. But it is critical that you turn your truck off. If you leave your truck on, when you plug in, you're going to get a nice little, hey dummy, you didn't turn your truck off. Okay? So you reach over, you turn your truck off. It's still going. You have to unplug it. And you have to wait for this screen to go back. Who has an iPhone?
Everybody.
Everyone has an iPhone?
Pretty much.
No.
If you go to settings, there's a thing in here called battery.
Battery health.
So this tells you, see this graph here? This tells you exactly how I use my phone over the last, looks like 12 hours or so.
Does it look like what you post? Man, you've been in social media for...
Yeah. I've been surfing Facebook. This information about the battery in my phone is the same as this battery. And I can see the information about this battery from my computer at my desk in my office. So when you're driving it and you're not plugging it in during your shift or your break, the shift change or your break or your lunch, I can see it. If you guys are running it down below 20%, I can see it. So this is a very important asset, and it's very expensive. And Cantex made an investment so that you guys could have a better experience. So we have to treat it right. And if we don't, I'm going to see it. And I'm going to send an email out that says, hey, truck number 1 didn't plug in today. Or truck number 1 doesn't plug in during first shift very much. Or truck number 2 doesn't plug in during second shift. I can see all of that information. So just know that while we're trying to improve your experience, we want you to do it right so that your experience is improved and the asset lives. This battery should have an 8-year life. If you treat it properly and charge it properly and discharge it properly, it should have an 8-year life. So
It's
just
not gonna have that battery smell, is it?
no, that's
Like
the good thing
slow
about
one?
lithium. Do you smell that with your phone when you
Oh,
charge it?
smell my phone?
Exactly. You don't smell your phone.
Don't smell it.
I really never
Yeah.
smell my phone either. Anyway,
Grandkids.
yeah. So yes, when you charge it on the lead acid, you get that
Yeah.
rotten egg smell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's sulfur dioxide. It's mixed with hydrogen. Sorry, it's not sulfur dioxide. It's sulfur hydroxide. Anyway, it's hydrogen and sulfur that comes out of the battery when it's charged, and that gives you that rotten egg smell. You won't get that with this. There's no emissions, there's no fumes. Doesn't have to be watered. This is zero maintenance, just like your phone. You don't have to put water in it. It doesn't smell. This is the same technology as what's in your phone, so you won't have to worry about any of that. Any other questions?
Do we want them messing with that screen up there?
Yeah.
The green one.
So on this screen, it's just to look at. It's pretty and functional, but don't touch the buttons.
Well, now everybody's gonna touch the buttons.
Some of us can't reach the button.
No. She said some of us can't reach the buttons.
Some of them can't dodge them.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the purpose of that gray box?
The gray box? The white one?
Yeah.
That's just the intelligence for the battery. So when you plug in the charger, it actually talks to that box and says, this is what the state of charge is of the battery. This is how much power I need. So, if something ever happens to that box, let us know. If it, you knock your head and it breaks it or whatever, or something falls on the guard and and it shouldn't ever, but if it does, let us know, because that's important to the charging of the battery. But you notice we have it tucked up where it's going to be hard to damage. Now you might, because you're pretty tall, you might hit your head up there, so just be careful.
Will that battery
Try
get
that?
hot like your phone battery does sometimes?
This battery does get hot like your phone battery, but it's got 4 really big fans in there that will get that heat right out. So in the summertime, when it gets really hot, you might feel hot air coming out of here or the other side, and that's perfectly normal. It will keep itself cool enough to not be, it should never get hot enough to be, if you touch it, it's like, it'll never get that hot. Exactly.
I'm sure it will cut itself off, right? I mean,
I'm asking
it gets to a
this
certain
question.
temperature.
Over here is pretty much most of our ship is common practice for them to store boxes over here in the side of that battery.
In the wintertime, it won't be a big deal. In the summertime, the air vents to cool the battery are down here. They pull air in.
Don't store no boxes in there.
This is where the air goes in
Okay.
to cool the battery, and it gets sucked up through the battery, grabs all the heat, and comes out the top. So it's probably best that we don't store boxes in there at any time, but critically in the summertime, you don't want to store boxes there.
You're from the battery guy. It's not just came from me. I keep telling you over and over.
Any other questions? Any questions about your phone battery that I can answer for you? All right. Enjoy it. These are new trucks with new technology. I think you're really going to like them. If you don't, there's a suggestion box over there. Fill out a card and I'll read them all. Not really.
Oh, go to crack it.
Yeah.
Don't forget.